Howdy, everyone. Okay, so let's see. I've just gotten started back into the installation of my avionics equipment. Like I said in my last video, the only thing remotely closely related to any kind of avionics installation was the battery. That was the only electrical thing that I had installed quite a while ago. So the latest and greatest so far is this is the vertical power PPS. It is basically a replacement for the contactors. So you have like a main battery contactor and you have your starter contactor, things of that nature. That is all enclosed in this unit here. This is basically your main power distribution block. So you can see you've got a starter connection here. This connects directly to your starter. This is the direct connection to the battery. This is your B lead connection for your alternator. And this is your main bus power here. So of course I run the battery here. This will go out to the starter. This will go out to the alternator. And this main bus out is the main power for everything else. This is going to be a direct connection to the vertical power VPX Pro, which I'll show you here in a minute. And then this is a multi-pin connector here, and this connects with my ethos. This basically just gives me status, and I don't know if it gives me switching power. I think it might give me switching power. But anyway, this will also connect to the VPX, I believe. And I'll get into that more when I get to that point and when I actually understand more what this is about. But like I said, this is the main bus power. This goes out to the VPX Pro, which is now mounted here, spanning the gap between the instrument panel and the sub panel. There are mounting provisions on the sides of the VPX, and I just made up my own brackets to pick up this edge here of the forward panel and then the back flange here of the sub panel. You can see I got two screws here and the angle fits underneath. And then of course it comes across the bottom and then up the side where it gets screwed into the VPX. So you have to have the brackets made first, screw them onto the sides of the VPX, and then put the VPX in and then screw it to your structure. So this is in solid, and you can see here, if I can get my hand in here, this connection here, if I get it in camera, let me go on the other side. That is the connection that runs from the PPS, the main bus power will come in and plug into the VPX there at that port. And then you've got multiple power ports. There are two individual power supplies inside here. So of course, if your main power fails, it kills both power supplies. But if you've got main power, you can lose one power supply and you've got another backup power supply in here. So when you're doing your avionics setup, if you're running like two ethos screens, you may want to have each of those on an individual power supply that's housed inside this unit, things of that nature. But there are multiple ports for multiple power supplies, and then there are multiple ports here for other power and for switching and controls and things of that nature. And you can see an Ethernet port there, so you can plug this into your laptop and see what it's doing. This controls all of your switching, and all of your circuit breakers are in here. And all of those are adjustable. So the circuit breakers in here, I forget exactly what they are, but they have a range of like 1 to 5 amps, and then there are others that are like 5 to 10 or 5 to 20, whatever they are. Those are all programmable. So you can take a 5 to 20 amp circuit breaker and program it to trip at 6 amps or 8 amps or 10 amps, whatever it is. So that's basically what this does. And again, as I work through it, I'll talk about it more when I have a better understanding of everything. And then I've got my, what are these? These are Trig Avionics. So this bottom one here is my Trig, what is this? This is my transponder, remote transponder, and this is my Trig remote VHF comm radio. This, if I understand it correctly, this is a comm radio and also the intercom. So I don't need a separate intercom box, if I understand it correctly. So now these are obviously mounted and ready to go. Next up, I have, this is the engine management system box. This is a GRT unit. This will plug into all the various engine instrumentation things, and this will also connect to the EFIS. So this is another remote mount. All the engine sensors for engine management will plug into this, and then this will have another set of wires that plugs into the EFIS. And this is my my manifold pressure sensor. This is also a GRT unit. These two still need to be mounted, and I don't think I have anything else at this point. Everything is, all of these boxes are remote boxes to plug directly into the EFIS, which I had already made the cutout for. So, I don't need to install, I don't have like a radio head, if you will, to control the radio, and I don't have a transponder head to control the transponder. All of that's going to be controlled through the EFIS. And I don't know, I'll go back and cover it when I get to it. But on the back of the EFIS, in another video, I had showed where the, I believe it was the ADS-B and the GPS, those are both mounted to each other, and then they're mounted together to the back of the EFIS. So those are already taken care of. I don't have to mount those. So I believe at this point, all I have to mount are these two boxes here. Then I can bring up the EFIS, I can mount it back in the panel, and then I can start figuring out wiring and switches and warning lights and warning horns and whatever. Another couple of things that I just remembered, in my cabinet here is where I keep a lot of my smaller electronic avionics parts. I'm just now starting to remember that I have the remote, I don't know what you want to call it. It's basically the alarm, the remote alarm for the ELT, and the little switch, the test push button, test button thing, and the lights also need to get mounted to test the ELT. Those need to be mounted. I've got some other things. It's just the miscellaneous stuff like that I'm going to have to dig out to make sure I don't forget to find places for. But just getting started. This is all new stuff to me. I've done wiring before. That's not the problem. It's just that I've never done a complete system from scratch. So taking my time, trying not to forget anything, trying to make sure that I don't mount things in the way of other stuff. Remember, I'm doing a tip-up canopy, so I've got hinges that come through here. If you got the main rail, that heavy U-channel rail of the tip-up canopy itself has to come through here. So I got to make sure I keep stuff out of the way for things like that. So, got a lot to do, just getting started. And I'll get back to you guys here later.